Hello, everyone. We are here. No, we're not here. We're here with a new series called Origin Stories, which is simply just talking to a guest, people of the community, about magic, how they got into magic, how they got into EDH. This will be a new series hosted by me. I'm the leader, I believe, so far, and Tim. Tim will still be here to coach me and guide me through my first attempt. We have our first guest, a second guest technically, because Tim has no chill. Mac, Attaramac.
Hey, how we doing?
Yeah, Deco was our first of the series, but I didn't get to make an intro for that, so here we are. So, Mac, what's going on, dude? We've been, friends for a while. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Definitely trying to beat you in some legacy, the control matchup.
Let's not go down that tangent off the road. Timmy T1000, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you, Sean?
We're here trying to sing for the first time. I'm going to see how I get roasted on the YouTube comments. So, this is what we're doing. All right, guys. So, Mac, tell us about yourself, man. Give me a rundown of.
I've been playing Magic for a while now, but very casual for the most part. Started Magic a long time ago. I think it was in grade school when the first time I discovered what Magic was, but I didn't know what it was. My older brother introduced me to it and how to play it eventually, but even then, didn't really get much into it until Odyssey block, so 2001. So
okay. So what was the broken stuff in Odyssey?
No clue. So we had all kinds of house rules. We did multiple free-for-alls with 8 people, just continuous 1v1. It wasn't until 2015, 2016 I got into EDH, and I'm pretty new to cEDH. About 2020 is when I actually started.
All right, cool. So when did you start competitive Magic?
It would have had to start at my local LGS. So I started building competitive decks when I got into Modern in 2017, and I really was creeping that power level of EDH. But I didn't really learn about cEDH until I started watching the Laboratory Maniacs.
Okay.
That's basically Siggy, Cameron, and Dan. That's where I started.
Nice. Awesome. You played. So Mac here has been. I've been a newbie in Legacy, and Mac has been completely schooling me in Legacy. I won't say school because he plays nothing but Control, but he has gotten me a better player for that.
Better than me beating up on you with Burn.
Yeah, better than me burning up at Turk. We have some very intricate matchups. What he can do here, what he can do there. He likes to play with his food because he likes not to leave nothing up to chance. So he likes to girdle here, girdle there. Put some salt in the wounds here, stomp on your face here. He takes his time and completely destroys you. But so other than that, Timmy, it did take you starting Magic from. You're old, so when did you start Magic?
When did I start? When in 1994, when the Dark came out.
See, people, if you need information about Magic and the old terminology, see this guy here in the bottom corner. I don't know where this is. Let's talk to him.
Right below you.
Okay, cool.
I've been playing Magic so long, the term mana curve was not I remember.
That sounds correct.
Mana burn was.
Mana burn. We can still play with
You just rip this card up. That's all.
No, you would enter your card and then the winner would get the.
Yeah. That's gambling, but I'm talking like where you actually would rip a card up and then throw it in the air. If it landed on the card, it was destroyed.
Nobody ever did that. Nobody wanted to ruin their $80 Chaos Orbs.
All right. So we talked about your background in Magic. How did you get into cEDH?
So it started with Kess. So I was really interested in Grixis colors from Modern, and I was just like, how can I make this Modern deck into a competitive cEDH? And that's when I learned about Kess, and I kind of started from budget working up.
Okay.
My first resources for cEDH were YouTube videos that had the deck list attached in the comments or in the description. And that's literally what I would do is look them up through YouTube, knowing nothing about the database or anything like that.
Right.
And at my local play group, started becoming the guy that nobody liked playing with because I was threatening wins earlier and earlier and earlier.
Okay. I mean that's normally how the arms race starts, and people either hate you or they join you. So I think it's kind of there's no middle ground to it. I mean, you can do it slowly to try to get everyone together, but at least that's how I normally go about it. So you went through the apprentice program on the Nexus.
Yes.
How did you feel as a new player getting into cEDH?
So as a new player, I had to do the 30 days of continuous play. I liked it. It definitely gave me a list of decks that also had primers to it, and being able to read up and figure things out. Now, I'm pretty stubborn, and I enjoy control. So it's a hill I'm willing to die on. And I played 20 days of Curious Control. And it helped me learn the meta. Like, I was playing decks that I had no clue what it did. And that's when I started learning, well, this combo is important to Godo, or this, I was learning the decks and learning the important factors that needed to be taken care of.
Okay. I mean, that's pretty good. I believe, and that's the thing, I believe to people who come into the Nexus that we always try to say is, even though you might have played cEDH for how many years, knowing a new meta is completely different. So learning the meta and what the meta consists of is just play your 15 games and go about it. So I know you touched on some of the resources, saying the Labman was some of your first resources in YouTube comments. But what were the most helpful resources?
Playing games. Actually being able to sit down and playing multiple games or watching others play. I've spectated easily as much games as I've played on the Nexus, and you see different plays, you see different lines, especially when there's multiple people piloting a similar deck. You just see different avenues that people take, and same thing with Fastest Oracle, then Consult, Consult, then Fastest Oracle. That's pretty double sides of a coin, but not many people open up the vulnerability of just trying to resolve a creature with no library.
Correct.
So,
all right.
Go ahead.
Continue.
Basically, watching, being able to repetition is basically the biggest things. The more you expose yourself to, the more you can learn. I also try understanding more point of views of how this is a good play compared to a bad play.
Okay.
You learn a lot from good players, but I feel like you can learn just as much, if not more, from a bad player. Just because of poor mistakes.
Poor mistake, poor threat assessment. Okay. I can understand that. How do you feel about that, Tim?
You can learn from other people's errors just as much as you can learn from other people's optimal places. You know, I mean, there's the old adage: "A wise man learns from their mistakes, and a wiser man learns from others." Well,
oh, I'm not that wise now.
No, from other people's mistakes.
No, I don't. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So are there any differences of what you expected cEDH to be versus what you experienced it to be?
Yes. So I was expecting more like turn 4, turn 5s, and some grindier games.
Right.
And I expected everyone that knew what cEDH was to kind of like be on the same playing field. Not being greedy, not sandbagging as much, but learn real quick that, oh, here's my turn 1 Soul Ring. Like, people just will tap out to stay on curve, not respecting someone's fish, and like actively feeding someone's fish. Oh, they're not going to draw the cards they need, or it's only turn 2, I can tap out. When they had Swan Song or Silence to deal with the issue at hand.
Agreed.
The greed. And then sandbagging is definitely something that took me a while to learn. And that's a thank to you, sir.
Are you a dirty sandbagger like Sean?
Oh.
I don't know, Tim. We haven't played in a while. So maybe I'm a regular good player.
Timmy's cold with that sandbagging. Don't let him tell you otherwise.
What we're talking about.
Oh, there you go, Tim. Well done. So I think you are currently, last I checked, a sensei at the Nexus. So I believe you're a C. I could call you.
Hey, Sean.
Could I say you're? Sorry. Oh yeah, I'm not looking at myself. Could I say you're a seasoned cEDH player? Would that be a term you use for yourself?
Yes, I've definitely played thousands of games on multiple different decks, and like I said, I've watched easily as much games, and I enjoy helping others see different lines or understanding where they could have did something better to be a little more protective, and just helping people through their lines to learn their deck better, or if they're learning a new deck, ways to interact with it. I like a competitive field of players to play with.
Right.
And that's why I feel like when I played on the Nexus, how we were required to play a lot of decks that were recommended, and some of the decks were like tier 1, tier 1.5 decks, where like you have to learn how to play top meta decks before you
can play. Deck.
Yeah.
All right. So, as you from new to seasoned player, what are some of the faults you think that you would tell new players to avoid? Like, is there anything you've done that incorrectly you would tell a newer player to avoid when getting into the format?
Correct. Don't try shortcutting all the time, and play it out. All right. I'm not saying like the person is going to misplay, but they could take a different line that you do not know about that you could have interacted with. It also lets you show multiple avenues, like the grindstone loop with Red Enchantment. What is it called? Underworld Breach. Yeah, where they're doing grindstones with like an LED or lotus petal, and they're manually going through 3 cards at a time. Like, they could mess up. They might not mess up, but learning how that deck could win and all of their win cons could be beneficial to recognize a pattern when you're playing a new player. So, And then just the simple interaction things, like when you can interact on, they could be doing their combo and then you could just have a nature's claim and you wait till, I don't want to say right away, but to the last moment, like, how to put this, be greedy to stop their win to progress into yours.
Right.
Right.
Now it's a double-bladed sword. They might have had interaction but at the same time, you could see their avenue that you're trying to win, and then when they least expect it, you could blow them out of the water.
I mean, that's how I got Ian this week.
There you go. You want to talk about that? Can you give us a detail about how you got Ian?
I was playing Morrowind, and I had a Korean Ranger on board. He had Adnos untapped.
Mm-hmm.
He had a tapped Manifold that he didn't untap, and then he vamp tutored because his Adnos wasn't great. So he vamp tutored in his upkeep. So he went to 3. Then he dinged himself off the Manifold, getting ready to go into his main phase. Playing had a Deathrite Shaman on tap and a Lotus spell. I messaged him once he cast the Adnos. I'm like, don't burn your pedal. Do not. I'm going to tap your Deathrite Shaman and we're going to get him when he goes low. But, we had to play it steady. I didn't say anything. I just waited for him to do all this, and then when he went to go into his main phase, I hold on, I got effects in your draw step. I untapped the Deathrite Shaman, and then we got him. And he had 5 pieces of interaction with me, and he had everything he could need.
So another thing is if you play Kenrith, and there's someone trying to just Vasta's Oracle Consult with the ETB on the stack, make them draw a card. So many people forget about that. Same thing with lands that make your opponent draw cards. People overlook those abilities, and they're just like, sure, exile my whole deck, ETB. And then it's just like, sure, draw a card.
The salt you will get from those plays, if you like to acquire salt, will be truckloads upon truckloads.
I like my food seasoned.
Oh, there we go.
So, in my defense, the line that I used was not intentionally put in to eat people. It was a card that is actually integral to the combo that I just happen to have an off-label use for.
Oh, so then again, if he didn't vamp tutor, he wouldn't have been in that situation.
Exactly. So since we talked about that, as a seasoned player, I think cEDH has people like to put a tag on cEDH players as elitist. What would you tell someone in the community that is trying to help others? Like, what should they avoid? In our last video, Deco used the terminology gatekeeping. What would you tell a seasoned player about? You've seen the drama in the community, so how would you tell other players to avoid that so it doesn't look bad, or cut the elitism out so it doesn't look bad on us, so other people can join?
Sure. So the biggest thing is there's multiple ways of people viewing cEDH. The main one is everyone thinks that you use the best cards in the best deck possible. Timna Krom, they're great at farming. But people don't always like playing these partner commanders, and they want to add their own little twist to things, their own little spice. And they want to know if their brew is cEDH level, which 80% of the time. Go ahead.
All right, before you continue.
Oh, okay.
Do me a few favor here. Explain what farm is.
So farm is where the commander can actively draw cards. So Timna, whenever you attack an opponent and it deals combat damage, you may pay life and draw cards. Then there's Corvold. Whenever a permanent sacrifice, you get to draw cards. A commander that actively draws you the cards is a farm commander to just constantly give you the resources and things that you need, farming cards from your deck to sculpt a perfect hand or looking for interaction to deal with threats that come aboard.
Awesome. All right, continue.
So people get, I'm tired of seeing X and Y partners. I want to play a different,
something different,
Sultai commander or just a different color combo that's not top tier. That's not like, well, there's another commander that does it better, but they don't want to keep using the same commanders. So they want to put in their own little twist, and they want to know if it's cEDH capable, which 80% of the time it is a fringe list, and it could hold up in these pods. But you have multiple people that are like, but it's not the best card. So you are always going to have people that view things as, is this the best card? Is this the best power slot for it? Compared to players that want to play at a cEDH level with their brews.
So I always kind of make a differentiation here. So again, after you play like in your case, like you played what, like 2,000 games in the last 12 months? Like you just get tired of playing Curious Control, right? So you want to? I'm just using that.
No, we get you.
You know, I said sometimes you get tired of playing Curious Control. So what do? You play Sid, right?
Yeah, you change up the variants. So I do have a pet deck, Sig River Cutter.
Right, but you have you've got thousands of games in your belt. You're very knowledgeable of the format you're playing in, very knowledgeable of the meta you're playing in. So you have constructed your deck in a manner specifically designed to target that meta with the optimal card pool in that color area. And you're playing a commander that is technically a card advantage, even though it may not be the 4-color good stuff color like card advantage. So you're at that point you're using a high level of skill to illustrate, to brew. You're not playing in a casual meta, coming in with trying to force your casual deck or your mid-power deck into a competitive meta that you don't know anything about. So it's different.
Correct. My knowledge is I know the meta that I've played in, compared to just walking in with I would never go to a LGS and be like, oh, let's play some Magic with Sig without knowing what I'm walking into.
It would probably get some.
No.
I mean, in a blind, if you took it in blind.
Right, a blind
exactly.
open meta.
Yeah, in open meta, it's definitely not going to do easily as what I thought it would do on the meta that I knew.
Right.
All right, so what do you... So since we're talking about cEDH, and I feel like what cEDH is, in your mindset, in your beliefs, what do you believe cEDH is? Do you think it's a card pool, or do you believe it's a mindset?
It's a mindset. It's definitely a mindset. So card pools, sure. I come from a proxy-friendly gameplay, so we're unlimited on whatever cards we can play. But for those that do care and they only want to play with the cards that they have or own, if you understand comp and how to play, what items you can just let go or let resolve, like there are scary items. This is an example for me because I knew the pod. Someone did a turn 1 fish, and I had a mental misstep. And I held that mental misstep because I knew the people in the pod weren't going to actively feed this fish. So we literally did nothing for first 2 turns that he kept the fish around, and I still had my mental misstep. And it just worked out in that way that we knew nobody was going to feed the fish.
Right.
It's a mindset for me,
Okay.
where others might say it's
a carpool. Yeah, that's why I said your take on it, because everyone have a different take. I don't think personally that cEDH is any one thing. A lot of people, like, if you, I'm not showing any shade at the database, but if you look at most cEDH decks, and in the same color pairing, there are 85 to 90 cards that share the same deck list. So let's say we're gonna look at, to me right now, the Andnos archetype, but it's not an Andnos archetype. It's the proper term would be Storm, the Storm archetype. Let's look at that archetype and see what the card pool is over 6 different decks. I believe you will see the same 80 plus cards in every of them, in those deck lists. And I don't disagree with it, but at the same time, I believe you can play high synergistic cards to get that same result or a better result. Where someone else would say you are playing a subpar card and you should play the best card. You see what I'm saying? So I believe.
I see what you're saying. Yes.
I don't believe it has a lot to do with a mindset.
So, like,
go ahead.
It's a mindset and a card pool, but that mindset comes with rigorous honesty. Like, so a lot of problems that I run into with people who want to brew is that they're not rigorously honest with the commander they're playing, the strategy they're picking, the cards in their list, and they're always looking at the ceiling and they're not looking at the floor and they're not looking at things rigorously honest. So a big part of being an effective brewer and being an effective deck builder is it's not that you can't play any card. I mean, you can play whatever card is optimal and whatever card from a rigorous honest standpoint is optimal for XYZ reasons. And you can play less optimal things, less optimal commanders, less optimal strategies, but you need to have it needs to have intent and needs to have purpose. Like, for example, with Sig, why did you pick Sig?
So people were a little careless, and just 2 CMC commander that when 3 damage is dealt, Mana Crypt. Plenty of people gamble turn 1 Mana Crypt, play Mana Crypt. And it's just, I enjoyed Dimir. I enjoyed the control matchup. And land go I have never been an issue with that. So turn 1 Sig, turn 2 Sig. I'm also a Legacy Lands player, so when there was a lot of Tymna decks running around, Tymna Thrasios, it's just like, they're playing Mana Dorks. I want to play a Tabernacle. I played Legacy Lands for so long, I just wanted, like, here's the Tabernacle. Go ahead.
Right. But your reasons for playing that were because it attacked the meta in a certain way.
Correct. It definitely gave me card advantage for a lot of people wanting to be greedy on their turns with Tymna triggers, Gentaxian Probe fetch lands. Like, 3 damage was continuous. In the meta that I was playing with, Sig was drawing me 2 to 3 cards per cycle. So it's just like, if they're going to be careless with their fetches and their vamp tutors, and they want to be greedy, so like, I could just wait till end of turn to fetch, where Sig doesn't trigger after the end step. That
kind of illustrates my point, is that you picked that for all of these metrics that were not because it's a rogue, not because it's a merfolk, and not because
no. And then I did not. I had nothing to do with. It was literally because of the draw. It was a 1/3. I could play Menace to just wipe the board and keep interaction up. It's just like, people can do what they want to do.
Yeah, well, but I mean, that's a good illustration of kind of my point. is that, like, you wanted to play something different, but you picked something different that met a lot of metrics that made sense into where you were playing.
Correct.
You know,
it definitely would not do in this ad nos meta. Oh, I draw one card because you cast ad nos.
That's about it. All right. So, any resources that you would recommend for a new and established player to look into? Maybe overlooked, like just give me something.
I would definitely say looking at primers, looking at what people are trying to brew, because there could potentially be a line or strategy with a certain new commander, or even an old one that's just been overlooked so often, but with new printed cards could make them viable again. And honestly, that's the biggest struggle that I deal with, is there's so many cards, just trying to keep up with everything on what's good.
Right. So, all right. So just look into primers, look into just, hopping in on some current brew crew, or not brew crew, just people brewing, and just talk about new decks, new cards. I think I like that.
Exactly, being educated and seeing potential cards that do different things. WotC's always pushing out new cards with new abilities, but we're not going to see Dredge again. They're not going to reprint that ability. Sad, but
we can hope. We can hope.
Oh, we can hope. Okay,
we can hope. Frog need new toys. The frog needs new toys. So we talked about SIG. What other of your current brews would people know you for?
So
let's
they knew
plug,
me.
Let's plug a deck list.
My deck list?
No.
Probably...
Yeah.
Vial Smasher Thrasios. I've played that for a while, and I've turned it into a Turbo Adnos that was still mid-range variant, because I wanted to play the Curious control, like Keen Eye and Curiosity.
Okay.
So I believe it's also my most viewed deck.
Also, the Vial Smasher Keen 10. I wonder
so
idea from. No.
It was.
Go ahead.
It was a mid-range deck that would allow you to potentially turbo out a Adnos and then win from there, or you take a step back and you play the slower avenue of Thrasios Value Town. It had card draw at the time, and it also gave you avenues to Adnos, get a lot of artifacts into play, be able to assemble Ice Conceptor, and then just untap with your mana again and assemble a win con. And then if you didn't get it, you turn your instant speed Adnos into a value Nos.
To refill your hand and get ahead on the board. Okay, I like that. We'll definitely plug those two deck lists in the
show notes.
In the show notes.
I got it on right now.
Awesome. So just to give you, you're here. Let's hype you up a little bit.
Big ego. Let's go.
There you go. Biggie, there we go. We gotta help each other's ego sometimes. So anything you wanna tell people where they can find you, where they can play games with you, yada yada yada?
Sure. I go by the username Attaramac or Mac on both Discord and on cEDH Nexus. I'm very active on cEDH Nexus. Mostly chat. Life has been slowly picking up, so I haven't been playing as many games. But you can easily message me on Discord, and that'll probably be the easiest way to schedule a game with me if you wanted to play. But I play. I've primarily been playing on cEDH Nexus.
We will try to get him to other Discords, but he's having a busy life schedule now, so hopefully we'll see him at other places. Max, thank you for being my guinea pig on at this second attempt, and yeah, I believe we'll have. I guess we'll make our plugs now. I guess we'll. So get to hit the bell, subscribe to Budget Brews. See us on the Budget Brews Discord. You can find me at Nexus Budget Brews. I'm kind of being everywhere at the moment. If you want to donate $1 to help my lighting not be so glary, Patreon Budget Brews, if I'm correct, not too sure about that one. /cEDH_budget_brews. There we go. The man said it himself. and that's it, guys. I appreciate you for watching us, and you'll see more of these two guys doing these type of stuff in the future. You have a great day. Bye.